MNHockeyTV is on the air. Hello, high school hockey fans. Welcome to the Kare 11 Hockey Night in Minnesota Game of the Week. We're live from the Andover Community Center for today's matchup between the 10th-ranked Andover Huskies and the 3rd-ranked Maple Grove Crimson. Hi, folks. Jeff Brown here on the air today. Matt Harrington producing behind the scenes. Glad to have you watching. Welcome to the pregame show. Number 10, Andover is 7-4-1 on the year. Team is led by a stellar top line of Cooper Conway, Gavin Thorson, and Caden Casey. Meanwhile, number 3, Maple Grove is 9-2, and they're led by senior forward Finn Brink and senior goaltender Jack Roach. These two teams in the same conference. This is a Northwest Suburban Conference matchup here tonight. Maple Grove is off to a great start in the conference, a perfect 5-0 in conference play. Andover, meanwhile, is 2-1 in the Northwest Suburban Conference standings. These two rivals are going to go at it here in a midseason clash. Crimson, though, seeking a bit of revenge from last season. This is a rematch of last year's Class 2A state championship game that was won 6-5 by Andover for their first state title. Both teams playing well right now. Maple Grove has won 7 straight. Andover's picked up 3 wins in a row. Let's take a look at some stats here and just kind of give you a kind of a tail of the tape between these two teams. As Maple Grove brings a highly effective offense into tonight's game of 5.6 goals a game. Andover, a little bit of a younger team this year. They lost a good chunk of their roster from last year's state championship team, still averaging nearly 4 goals a game. Maple Grove is just excellent all across the board, allowing just over 1.5 goals a game defensively. A power play is the tops in the state at over 50%, and a penalty kill that's at 90%. Spectacular special teams for the Crimson. And they are 5-0 in their last 5. As I mentioned, they're actually on a 7-game winning streak, Maple Grove is right now. For Andover, still a very good team, averaging about 4 goals a game, giving up 2.7. Power play and penalty kill, both overall on the season, have struggled. But they were very good in the holiday Christmas tournaments right after Christmas, as Andover went 3-0 in their post-Christmas games coming into tonight. So a big matchup here between these two teams, and another factor to consider, who's going to be the least rusty of the two. Both teams, their last game was on December 29th, and they've had limited practice time since then, especially this week, due to all the snowstorms and the school closures that have taken place. So this first period, it's really going to be interesting to see who is the least rusty of the two, who gets off to a good start, as we've got a packed house here at the Andover Community Center. The Andover High School band is over in the corner. We've got the stands filling in, standing room only around the rink here at the Andover Community Center as well. Let's get you the starting lineup for number 3, Maple Grove, 9-2 on the season. Starting in goals, a 6'1", 180-pound senior, number 1, Jack Roach. Roach on the year, he's played 459 minutes. This is his 12th game, a 7-2 record, a 1.78 goals against average, and a .926 save percentage with 4 shutouts. Defensively for the Crimson on the left side, a 5'10", 160-pound junior, number 28, Connor Stelgis. On the right side, a 5'10", 170-pound senior, number 13, the captain Luke Margano. Forwards for the Crimson starting things out tonight. On the left wing, a 5'9", 180-pound senior, the captain, number 27, a University of Wisconsin Badger commit, Finn Brink. On the right wing, a 6'4", 200-pound senior, number 18, assistant captain Blake Steenerson. And centering the line is a 6'1", 170-pound senior, assistant captain number 15, Jack Kernan. Head coach of the Maple Grove Crimson is Todd Berglund, with assistant coaches Tom Miller, Andy Hedlund, and the goaltending coach is Ryan Coyne. Now for the homestanding Andover Huskies. They're 7-4-1 on the year, ranked 10th in Class 2A. Starting in goals, a 5'10", 150-pound senior, number 1, Bo Altman. Altman. He's played 400-plus minutes on the year. This is his 9th game of the season. A 5-2-1 record. A 2.69 goals against average and a 9.14 save percentage. Defensively for the Huskies, on the left side, a 6'0", 170-pound senior, number 7, Tristan May Robinson. On the right side, a 6'0", 165-pound junior, number 11, Brooks Cogswell. Forwards for the Huskies, their top line will start things out, and they bring the heat. They've got 3 Division I commits. On the left wing, a 6'1", 170-pound senior, number 8, Cooper Conway. He's a Colorado College commit. On the right side, a 5'8", 100-pound senior, number 12, Gavin Thorson. He's a St. Cloud State University commit. And centering the line is a 6'1", 180-pound senior, number 15, Caden Casey. He is a St. Lawrence University commit. All 3 of them played in the USHL Junior League prior to the start of the high school season. They most likely, all 3 of them, will go back to their USHL teams whenever their high school season is over. Huskies coached by Mark Manny. He guided them to the Class 2A state championship last year. He's also a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel. He notably spent much of his 23-year career piloting Air Force One. He's been on the Andover coaching staff since 2008. He graduated from Moorhead High School and then the Air Force Academy. Assistant coaches for the Huskies are Brett Barda, Cal Dukowski, Mark Cotter, and William Thorson. Couple notes for the coaching staff for Maple Grove. Todd Berglund's in his 8th season. He led the Crimson to the state title game last year. He was named the Class 2A Coach of the Year last season. So some excellent coaches on behind both benches here this evening. Todd Berglund was the head coach of the year in Class 2A last year. Meanwhile, Brett Barda was the top assistant coach in Class 2A last year. Brett Barda is one of the assistants for Andover. We're able to get in some pregame interviews with both head coaches. We'll play them for you during the first and second intermissions tonight. Andover without one of its top defensemen, number 3, Landon Stringfellow. There was a chance he might be able to play tonight, but unable to suit up here this evening. Only one senior on the blue line for Andover here tonight. That's Tristan May Robinson. I'll pause for a moment for the national anthem, and then we'll get tonight's Kare 11 Game of the Week underway in a moment. Grove's got an absolutely dominating top line. But Maple Grove's got more, at least statistically, at face value coming into tonight, looking at lineups and so forth. Maple Grove's got a little bit more offensive depth throughout their lineup, and they have far more experience throughout their lineup than Andover does this year. Altman in net for Andover. Roach in net for Maple Grove. Top lines will go at it here. Kernan will take the draw for Maple Grove against Casey for Andover. We are underway. The Crimson with puck control in their own end. Aggressive forecheck by Conway. He'll throw a check in there in the corner. Separates Stelgers from the puck for Maple Grove. Worked around the wall. Tip back out to center. Nice breakout there by Brink. Gets it down the left wing for Kernan. He'll fire a wrist shot. Goes over the top of the net. Kind of rode up the shoulder of Altman. Rings around the wall. Back out to center. Bouncing around out at center. And a quick penalty there. Just 22 seconds in. I think it's an elbowing call here. 2 minutes for elbowing. And Cooper Conway is going to go to the box, and a power play chance right off the bat for Maple Grove. I believe leading Class 2A with a power play at 51.9% on the season. And the Crimson will win the draw. They'll work it back out to the point. They'll go D to D. Back over to Margano. He'll take a wrist shot that's blocked away by, comes over to Brink with a wrist shot. Pad save in front, rebound, kicks around and run, diving on top of it is Altman. Still can't get a handle on it. Back behind the net, bounces back behind the goal. Picked up here by Steenerson for the Crimson, worked around the wall. Margano can't keep it in for Maple Grove, all the way back down into the Crimson end. Penalty kill on the season for Andover is at 78.6%. Was better in their three-game sweep in their post-Christmas tournament. But it has still overall struggled this season. Flip back out to center and fired down the rink by the Huskies. Margano back to get to it. Ben Dahl loses an edge, crashes into the end wall, and the Crimson will bring it back down the right wing. Back out to center. And Maple Grove offside at the line. Cooper Conway in the box for Andover to start things out here. Definitely has a physical edge to his game through a couple of checks in that first shift, and one of them a little bit too aggressive, ends up getting him an elbowing penalty. He does lead the Huskies in penalty minutes so far this year with 20 after that minor assessed earlier in the game. We're scoreless in the first period here in the Kare 11 game of the week, Hockey Night in Minnesota. Coming up Stelgis right up the middle. He'll flip it into the corner. Picking it up there and hacking it back out to the point. Kept in here by the Crimson. They'll go across the rink. Trying to work it down into the corner, and then it's fired down here by the Huskies. Unable to play it cleanly was Giuliani there for Maple Grove. Turnover, stolen away. Thorson was dropped. Goes over the top of the net and out of play. Gavin Thorson, a St. Cloud State commit for Andover. Able to steal the puck back behind the net. Walked out in front, but went over the top of the goal and out of play for a shorthanded chance. And a face-off coming back in the Crimson end. Kernan will take the draw for Maple Grove. He'll control it. Coming down here is Margano. He'll fire it off the sidewall, ringing around the wall. Back into the corner. Brink ties up his man. Steenerson gets tied up, and it's flipped back out to center on a backhander here by the Huskies. Just 10 seconds to go on the power play for Maple Grove. No score here in the opening minutes. Margano has it roll off his sticks. Turned over here, flipped in down deep by Crosby Perry for the Huskies, and that will do it for the Maple Grove power play. Finn Brink, though, has the puck for the Crimson. Weaving through center into the offensive zone. He'll slide it over the right side. Steenerson can't play. Kernan will send it towards the goal. Pad save there by Altman. No traffic in front, and he'll pounce on the loose puck and get a whistle and a face-off. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Great products, people, and competitive rates. Now that's a banking hat trick. Learn more at affinityplus.org. Crimson didn't have too much going on there on that power play, but power plays in particular are one of those things where if you're not practicing them, not getting a whole lot of game time, they can get rusty real quick. Last game for both these teams was December 29th, and limited practice time this week due to the snowstorms and the school closures. Huskies with the puck, trying to carry it back from behind their own net. I think they end up stepping on the puck, goes into the corner. Jellinson trying to chase down for the Crimson, back out to point. Crimson will fire it high and wide from the right point there by Grant Leno. Back out to center. Maple Grove will flip it back in. Scooped up there by Altman. He'll leave it at the side of the net. Played here by Cogswell for the Huskies. Pushed back out to center. Leno will get it back for Maple Grove. Flipped up here and knocked down here by the Huskies. Comes back to the Maple Grove blue line. Picanato will go D to D, and Maple Grove will dump it in. Altman stops it back behind his own net, leaves it there for Cogswell, worked around the wall. Knocked down here by the Crimson, working it in the slot. That one passes behind Ellenson. He can't handle it cleanly. Goes over the near side wall. Maple Grove still with puck control, though. Brink back out to the point. Leno go D to D. There's a wrist shot blocked in front. Comes right back with another wrist shot. Short side. Misses just wide. Comes hard off the end wall, trying to bank it off a player out in front are the Crimson. Puck ends up carrying back out into the corner. And it'll be shoveled back out to center here by Andover. And a quick icing call here against the Huskies. Worked around the wall, deep in the Andover zone right now. Trying to bounce it into the slot of the Crimson. Comes back to Owen Smith. He'll take a shot. Knocked down. Trickles towards the goal. Just skips wide. Worked down low. Trying to play it there. Sinclair for Maple Grove. Pushed around the wall again. And ends up carrying back out to center. Back into the Crimson zone. Foot race here. Knocked back up the near side. Sinclair gets bumped off there in the corner. Dahl will work it around the wall for the Huskies. Maple Grove takes away back the other way into the offensive zone. Stick handling into the slot up high. Curling over into the corner here is Lucas Bush. Back out to Smith. He'll take a shot. Stick save there by Altman. Swatted out of midair by a Andover defenseman. And a hand pass called with 12:12 to go in a scoreless first period. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by St. Cloud State University. Explore ideas, seek out unique perspectives, and embrace new challenges. Unleash possibilities. Learn more at www.stcloudstate.edu. Face-off coming in the Crimson zone here. Kernan kicked out, so Brink will take it against Caden Casey. Worked into the corner. Conway shielding the puck down low in the corner. Comes back out to the point. Law will take a shot that goes high and wide to the far corner, top shelf corner of the Maple Grove net, and the puck ends up getting ricocheting into the roof. And we'll have another stoppage in play here with 11:59 to go in the first period. No score. Big early season Northwest Suburban Conference matchup. Maple Grove a perfect 5-0 in conference play so far. Andover just 2-1 in the Northwest Suburban Conference as the puck goes out of play. Conference play not as important, obviously, as the section tournament, for example. Face-off again in the Crimson end. Rattles round at the face-off dot, jammed into the corner. Picked up here by Martineau. He'll work it around the wall. Brink trying to let it come with him. Conway slows him down. Conway trying to chase down Brink. Slips off Brink's stick. Picked up here by big Alex Blake Steenerson at 6'4", 200. Cleared back into the Maple Grove zone. Played down deep. Kernan back in the offensive end for the Crimson. Trying to slide it back out to the point. There's Brink. Picked up here by Casey for the Huskies, stolen away. Steenerson trying to get down low, the shot, pad save in front by Altman. Turnaround shot from the faceoff down there by Kernan goes wide, and the Huskies will fire it out to center. Knocked down at the red line. Picked up here by Stelgis for Maple Grove. He'll sidestep one man, fires the puck deep, and he'll go for a line change. Saucered across the rink. Andover having trouble getting going here. Thorson gets knocked down at center ice. And fired back into the offensive end by Stelgis. Stopped behind the net by Altman, over for Law. Pass up the left side, bringing it out through center. Huskies will fire it in. Icing waved off. Back to play it down low is Picanato for Maple Grove. Worked rink wide. Fired back into the offensive end. Back down low, push back up the wall. Trying to play it down low in the corner. Here are the Crimson. Shot there from the point. Stick saved by Altman. Back into the corner. Shots on goal, 5-1 so far for Maple Grove in the opening 7 minutes. Here's Yell, takes a hard high hit. Look down at just the wrong moment. It gets leveled just inside the Maple Grove zone. Back into the offensive end for the Crimson. They'll change up all 5 skaters on the go. Huskies a little bit sluggish to get things going. Here's Belisle chasing down a loose puck in the corner. Caden Belisle leaves it down low. But into play here is Ellingson for Maple Grove. 2 players down deep for both teams. Into the corner. Trying to work it up is Sinclair for Maple Grove. Jam back out to the point for a one-timer. Sowers. Big slap shot from the center point goes over the top of the net. Sauer, a freshman, having a solid first year here for Andover. Back into the Crimson end. Coming in to help out is Ellingson. He'll get it up the wall for Sinclair. Sinclair trying to get it off the boards. In to help out is Ellingson. Fights through a stick check. Ellingson into the offensive zone all by himself with a wrist shot. Ends up having his pocket picked. Goes down to the ice. Puck slides into the corner. And the Huskies will clear it back out to center. Still no score. Back in deep in their offensive end. Margano has it stripped away out at center. Kicked back into the offensive zone by Cooper Conway of Andover. Worked back out to center. Thorson trying to dump it in. Knocked down by the stick of Finn Brink. Then he has it stripped away. Conway out in front. Backhander just misses. He got the goaltender down, but curled it too wide, and it went back behind the goaltender and into the corner. Good stick handling move there by Conway. Just couldn't finish. And Finn Brink called for interference and a power play chance for Andover here with 8:36 to go in the first period. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by Red Black League. Red Black Hockey, spring and fall leagues for high school boys and girls, fall leagues for bantam and pee-wee. Since 2014, Red Black has provided serious hockey players an opportunity to improve their game. Red Black Hockey, check them out at redblackhockey.com. First power play chance of the night for the Huskies of Andover. On the season so far, their power play at 17%. Penalty kill for Maple Grove in the top 10 in the state at 90% on the year. Got to look for Cooper Conway. Gavin Thorson on the power play here. They've combined for 6 power play tallies on the year. Face off deep in the Andover zone. Controlled here by the Huskies. Trying to get something going. Pass up to Dahl. And he'll gain the blue line, chip it into the corner, and try to chase down himself. Goes hard into the corner with Leno from Maple Grove. Pushed up the wall, kept it at the point. Here is Casey. Comes in a couple of steps, trying to fire it down low into the corner. Goes off the skate of Kernan. He'll muscle through a check and dumps it down the rink. Nice job by the assistant captain, Jack Kernan, the senior for Maple Grove. Muscling through to pick up that loose puck and dump it down. 1:05 to go here in the power play for the Huskies. Down the left wing, throwing in hard off the end wall. Thorson into the corner. Back out to the point for Casey. He'll send it down low. Knocked away by the stick of Maple Grove's Picanato, but the Crimson can't clear it. Thorson with a shot that's blocked away again by Picanato. Thorson gets it right back. Back out to Casey. He'll fire towards the goal. Tipped in front. Goes wide into the corner. Thorson. Back to Casey in the middle of the ice. Fires it across. Pepper one-timer blocked away by a stick in front. They got the goaltender out of position. And Maple Grove ends up falling on top of the puck. And we'll get a stoppage with 35 seconds to go in the power play. Still no score. Goaltender was out of position there. They had an empty net to shoot at, but I think ended up hitting one of their own players' sticks for Andover. And the Huskies denied a chance to take the lead. Face-off controlled by the Crimson down low below the goal line. 3 forwards down low for Andover with 30 seconds to go on their man advantage. And Yell's helmet comes off, and that'll blow the play dead. For Andover this year, it's been kind of an inconsistent up and down season. They opened with a dominant win over now #1 Chanhassen. And then they beat up on Moorhead as well early on, but they were handily beaten by Benilde St. Margaret, Duluth East, and Minnetonka. Huskies started 3-1, then they went 1-3-1 in their next 5, and they've now won 3 straight by a combined score 20-5 over Benilde again. And then they beat Hill Murray and Rosemount as well. Here's Thorson, stick handling down low, works out for a backhander in front for Sauer. He can't finish. Work back into the corner. And Thorson ends up pointing out to center. He tries to keep play going, but the linesman blows it dead here with an offside. And for Andover, their offense has clicked in their wins, and it has not in their losses. They've scored 5 goals or more in 6 of their 7 wins this season, the Huskies have. But they've scored 1 or no goals in all 4 of their losses. Huskies with Babineau. He'll win a stick battle and fire it back behind the Maple Grove net. Crimson back to full strength. We're at 5-on-5 hockey here with 6:28 to go in the first period. No score. Hard battle on the far side half wall. Comes free for Steenerson for the Crimson. He'll work it back behind the net. Pass up left side for Brink. Brink stick handles through center. He'll throw it into the corner. Steenerson will try to go down low for it. Steenerson gets spun off behind the Andover net. Huskies will play it down deep in their own end. Back out to the point. Morgano with a wrist shot. Maybe glanced off the shoulder or the face mask of the goaltender Altman for Andover. As Brink trying to swing out in front, he gets spun down, turned over here to the Huskies. They're trying to get out of their own end with Cogswell. Long outlet feed, trying to get up to Babineau. Turned over to Margano for Maple Grove. He'll leave it back behind the net for Owen Smith. Out through center is Brink. He'll feed it to the middle. Stick handle in the middle. Margano with a shot. Pad save there in front by Altman. Margano getting involved offensively. The senior captain on the blue line gets a nice pass. Cuts through. Gets a chance there in front. Maple Grove still in the offensive zone. Short side shot there. Misses high and wide. Back behind the nets. Crimson again. Hard hit up high on Ty Patefield. Still holds on to the puck down low in the corner. Finally stolen away and taken over here by May Robinson for Andover. 5 minutes to go here in a scoreless first period. Back behind the net. Altman will leave it there. Patefield can't get there in time for Maple Grove. Worked around the boards. Kicked into the slot. Hacked back out to center and back into the Crimson end. Foot race here between Sauer and Stelgis. Those two get tied up in the corner, and Smith comes in to help out for the Crimson. They'll fire it off the half wall. Stolen away. Thorson working into the slot. 1-on-3. Still has the puck. Thorson waiting for his other teammates to get into play after a line change. He still has it on the backhand. Circling the perimeter of the offensive zone. Thorson backhand it back to the point. That pass broken up, but Andover still holds on to it. Here's Casey in the slot with the shot. Knocked out front. Comes right back to the Huskies. Cogswell swings it around. Couple of quick passes back out to the point. Sending on goal. Pad save by Roach. Rebound comes up the middle. And it'll be kicked back out to center here by Karkos for Maple Grove. Conway trying to feed it into the middle ice. Turned over. Coming back the other way with good speed is Kernan. Kernan on the backhand. Kernan out in front. Stick handle shot. Saved there by Altman. Kernan found it. Then the rebound just skips through the crease and into the corner. And the Huskies will be happy to just ice it down the rink after that great chance by Maple Grove, but we're still scoreless. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by Meta Sports League. Check out their Metabutes NFT hockey project that features a collection of 9,997 Metabutes. Learn more at metabutes.com. Also be sure to watch for the True Hockey Play of the Game at the conclusion of tonight's matchup. That'll be posted on the MNHockeyTV social media platforms. Face off deep in the Andover end. Having some substitution issues here in Maple Grove. Both these teams, 3 straight tournament runs. But both of them kind of running into a little bit of a changing of the guard. Andover lost 11 seniors from last year's team. There are 13 seniors on this year's team for Maple Grove. Puck dropped here in the corner, kicked down front, kicked away by Altman, back down low. Maple Grove still at the puck. Kernan will swing it across. That pass broken up. Picking it up and keeping it, firing it down deep is Leno for the Crimson. Worked around the wall. Andover trying to get a handle on it and get it out of their own end, and they'll finally loft it back into the Maple Grove zone. And another icing call here against the Huskies with 3:25 to go in the first period. No score. Shot totals 9-4 in favor of the visiting Maple Grove Crimson. JV teams for both squads matched up earlier this evening, with Andover's JV team winning 3-1, I believe. Right before this matchup, right off the face-off, Ellington's wrist shot goes well wide, hard off the dasher. And the Huskies will bring it out to center with Casey. Pass up to Thorson down the right wing. Thorson guts the middle ice down low for Casey in the quick shot. And a quick little left leg pad save by Jack Roach. Back out to center, bouncing around. Collected here by the Huskies. They'll shovel it in. Back to play it is Leno for the Crimson. He'll leave it down low in the corner. Hacked up the boards by Sinclair. In to help out and swinging it out to center is Picanato for the Crimson. Andover will dump it right back in. Refs thought about blowing an icing, decided to let it go. And the puck rolls back out to center. Hard hit there on Belisle as Ellington drills him. Play will continue with 2:38 to go in the first period, no score. Sidestep, avoiding a hip check there is Lucas Bush. Cleared back into the offensive zone, good speed. Conway down the right side, backhands it out in front. Goes off the side of the net. Worked around the wall. Here's Ingram for Maple Grove. He can't control. Casey in there as well. He'll fire it into the slot, bounce around there. Finally kicked in on net and covered up by Roach as Thorson really wasn't ready for that pass, but still kind of bounced off him and ricocheted in on net. And Roach able to make the cover and get the save and the whistle. 2:17 to go here in the first period. Jack Roach has been spectacular in net so far this season for Maple Grove. Second in 2A in wins with 7. He's 9th of any goaltender with significant minutes on the season at the Class 2A level, and goals against average at 1.78 and in save percentage at .926. He's second in Class 2A with 4 shutouts on the year. Back to play it down low is Marganeau for the Crimson, working around the wall, back out to center. Both teams have had stretches where they just can't get out of their own end. Right now, this is one of those sequences for Maple Grove. They can get a 3-2 if they can hurry. Coming down the right side, Patefield into the offensive zone, trying to center it. Goes off a stick, and Andover will dump it up the wall, and they'll bring it back out to center. Coming down the left wing is Sullivan. And to help out is May Robinson. He'll dump it down deep. 90 seconds to go in a scoreless first period. Marganeau stick handling down the left wing into the offensive zone. Trying to walk out in front, slips off his stick at the side of the net, and Altman will cover it up in net for Andover. Maple Grove with another shot off the face-off from Leno, blocked in front. Steenerson will collect a loose puck. Sharp angle shot that misses the net, rings around the wall. Trying to hold it in at the point here is Picconato. Unable to do so, but Brink comes in to maintain puck possession for the Crimson. Tipped back in here by Maple Grove. Picked up behind the net here by Pardo for Andover. Trying to get it back out to center. Kicked forward up to Steenerson, up to Brink. Under a minute to go in the first period. Brink, they'll slide it down the right side. Here's Lindell with a wrist shot. Save in front there by Altman. Rebound comes way up the middle. Saucered across the rink. Thorson trying to play a bouncing puck, unable to do so. Thorson over for Casey, back out in front. That one kicks off of Roach. Picked up and fired around the wall by the Crimson. 38 seconds to go. Back in it across the rink. Thorson, a dangerous pass, connects with Casey. He'll dump it into the offensive zone, but an offside is called. And we'll have a whistle and a stoppage with 30.5 seconds to go here in the first period. Still scoreless. Dug free by Sauer. He'll shovel it in. 22 seconds to go here in the first period. 13 seniors on the roster for Maple Grove. Meanwhile, Andover lost 11 seniors from last year's team. They have just 6 seniors on this year's roster. And a tripping call here against Maple Grove at the end of the period. Sinclair will touch it up with 5.4 seconds to go in the first period. So Maple Grove is going to have the majority of a power play going into the second period. KJ Sauer headed to the box for tripping in the offensive zone. Face off deep in the Andover end. Controlled here by Maple Grove, but they pull back so strongly it goes into their own end, and they're not going to have a chance to do anything here at the end of the period. The horn will sound, signaling the end of the first. Back and forth first period. And after 17 minutes, nothing's been settled so far. We're still scoreless in this top 10 matchup. The Kare 11 game of the week here at Hockey Night in Minnesota. We'll take a break, come back with an interview with Andover head coach Mark Manning. Next, you're watching MNHockeyTV.
Your college experience begins with your dream. Your time at St. Cloud State will uniquely be your own, but your journey will be guided by our community. Be you. Be bold. Be a Husky.
They say good things come to those who wait. But greatness, that's a different beast. It doesn't come when it's called. It won't wander up to those who do nothing. You have to bait it with the sweat you leave on the ice. You gotta push through the pain, smile through every ache, and suffer every shift. You gotta chase it, all in the name of the game you love. Because greatness comes to those who take it.
Sniper's Edge Hockey is your one-stop shop for your at-home hockey training needs on and off the ice. Find the perfect start to your at-home training area with slick tiles, synthetic ice, or a rink liner. Or upgrade your home setup with one of our top-quality training tools to help you work on soft hands, all of your deeks and dangles, perfect your one-timer, and improve the power and accuracy of your shot. Find it all online and in stock for immediate shipping at snipersedgehockey.com.
What if there was a place where everything was hockey?
Oh, he can skate. Here comes Steves in on goal, all alone.
In Minnesota, there is.
Scores!
And welcome back to Andover Community Center. No score after the first period of play between the 10th-ranked Andover Huskies and the 3rd-ranked Maple Grove Crimson. Let's take a break now. We'll be able to play our pregame interview with Andover head coach Mark Manny. Be here. We'll turn that on right now. And welcome back to Andover Community Center. Jeff Brown here on MNHockeyTV. Glad to have you watching this evening. No score between these two teams after one period of play. Hockey night in Minnesota. Two teams ranked in the top 10. Let's take a look at the stats from the first period. A back and forth first period. 10 shots on goal for Maple Grove to 6 for Andover. Both teams 0 for 1 on their full power plays in that first period. Maple Grove will have a minute 55 of power play time to start the second. Both teams look kind of rusty in that first period. Each team generated one or two really good chances, but just off just a little bit on finishing them in that first period. Second period keys. Both teams need to try to kind of avoid the dump and chase. There was a lot of that in the first period. Try to avoid that, bring the puck in with possession, with numbers here in the second period of play. Maple Grove also, they got to find a way to get more shots on goal. They had 10 shots on goal, but the Crimson took a lot of other chances and missed the net a lot in that first period. Overall, I think, if this was a boxing fight, if you will, I would give that the first period to Maple Grove, but they left a lot of meat on the bone in that first period with a lot of good chances that missed the net in that first period of play. Teams will switch ends. The long change here in the second period. Both teams, I should say, Andover a little bit inexperienced defensively. Coming into this season, there's just one senior defenseman on the roster. That's Tristan May Robinson. But the Huskies allowing over 30 shots on goal a game. The goaltenders have played well. Team save percentage of .912, which is good for 15th in Class 2A for Andover. Power play out here for the Crimson to start the second period of play. Kernan against Casey, the two number 15s, will take the draw. And it'll be controlled here by the Crimson, kicked back by Kernan, trying to get set up here, but they'll bring it into the offensive zone and it'll be dumped down the rink immediately here by Andover. Nudged back into the corner. Huskies, shorthanded, kind of cycling the puck. They'll throw it back across the rink. Thorson against Brink down deep. A couple of future Division I players going at it. Knocked back into the Andover zone with a minute 20 to go here in period number 2. On the power play very early on here in period number 2. Thorson gaining the line. Gets chased back out to center. Will happy to play keep away. Now he'll stop in his own end and wrist the puck down the rink on the clear. Back down deep, Ben Dahl has it knocked away by Brink. Maple Grove will try to get something set up. Their power play came into the night at over 50% on the season. Pass across the rink, brought in here by Steenerson up the middle. He'll angle over to the right side. Long reach for Steenerson. He'll curl around back behind the net, back out to the point for Margano. Margano trying to slow things down. He's got it back at the middle of the ice. Works it over to Bush at the side of the circle. He'll get it back down deep. Trying to work it back behind the net here for Kernan. Kernan gives way over for Brink with 30 seconds to go on the power play. Brink back down in front. Kernan has it, tries to pull it to the forehand, slips off the toe of his stick before he can fire it in on net. Kernan's got it back. He's got 5 power play goals on the season. Brink with 8 power play assists. Trying to work it out in front is Brink. He's got it back. He'll backhand it back out to the point. Holding there. Here is Brink, top of the circle. Looking for a pass. He'll take the shot instead. It's deflected, goes into the netting. And we'll have a stoppage. Just 2 seconds to go on the power play. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by Meta Sports League. Check out their Metabutes NFT hockey project that features a collection of 9,997 Metabutes. Learn more at metabutes.com. Face-off back in the Andover end. Ellingson kicked out. So Bush will take the draw here for the Crimson against Crosby Perry for Andover. Huskies win it, pull it into the corner. Andover back to full strength. Sauer out of the box. Nudged back out to center. Maple Grove will hold it at the red line. Here is Leno. He'll flip it in wide of the net. Slowed down there by the goaltender Altman. Back by the net, Sinclair from Maple Grove. Works it out in front. Stripped away before Ellingson can play it. And the net comes off its moorings, and we'll have a stoppage. Fans, MNHockeyTV is partnered for our second season with Kare 11. Be sure to check out other Hockey Night in Minnesota games throughout the season on Kare 11 Plus, the Kare 11 streaming app, and YouTube channel. I have the schedule features both boys and girls games from around the state. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Overtime Hockey Podcast, available with a new episode each week as we go inside high school hockey. Subscribe at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and 11 other podcast hosting channels. Face-off controlled here by Maple Grove. Back out point with a shot. And there's padded away there by the goaltender Altman into the corner. Played down low by Bush. He's bumped off. Maple Grove still puck control. Knocked away from Ellingson. Into support is Bush. He gets chased back to the point. Still holds it in the zone just inside the blue line. He'll keep it in the zone. Bush finally has it stripped away. Picked up here by Yell. Macklin Yell for Andover, gaining the line. He'll throw it towards the goal, knocked down by a skate boot of Leno, and Maple Grove will bring it back out to center. Down the right wing, Ellingson into the offensive zone. Drop pass here with a wrist shot that's knocked down front. Comes around, bouncing around in the slot. Unable to get a handle on it there was Bush, and it's picked up here by Andover, and they'll carry it back behind their own net. 14 minutes remaining here in a scoreless second period. Here's Sauer down the right side, cutting to the net. Perry out in front, and he swings and misses at the centering feed. Nice pass there by Sauer coming down the wing. Perry just fans on the wrist shot from the slot. And we'll have a stoppage with 13:54 to go here in period number 2. Maple Grove's been doing a better job on face-offs so far. 13 wins, 7 losses on draws in the first period. Steenerson in a foot race down the right side. Steenerson throws it in on goal. Pad saved there by Altman. A rebound comes right up the middle. Cleared away in the slot by Andover. That was a good thing, too, because Finn Brink coming right down the middle, uncovered. And he would have had a great chance there in front if the Andover defense hadn't cleared away that loose puck in time. Huskies will saucer it back out to center. Up to the Maple Grove blue line. Margano up the wing. Kernan will nudge it into the offensive zone. Fired over to the wall. Kernan will turn and spin it into the slot. Cleared back out to the point, but the long reach of 6'4", 200-pound Blake Steenerson keeps it in the zone for Maple Grove. Kicked around down deep in the Andover end. Steenerson will fire it back down deep behind the net. And a penalty coming here for tripping. And that'll be Steenerson going to the box. Second power play chance of the night for Andover. Trying to get their top line going. They'll start things out here on this power play chance. This top line for Andover, all Division I commits, all playing in the USHL. Cooper Conway, Caden Casey, Gavin Thorson. Andover is going to go as far as this top line will take them. Conway with 24 points, Thorson with 23 so far, Casey with 16. And Thorson across the rink, pass too strong for May Robinson pinching in from the point, and Maple Grove will dump it back down the rink. Casey will swing it across over for Thorson. And his breakout pass broken up by the stick of Ellingson for Maple Grove. Andover deep in their own end right now. May Robinson, long stretch pass across the ring for Thorson. Drop pass here for Conway. Knocked away from him. Picked up here by Brink. Excuse me, that was Ingram for Maple Grove carrying it out. Knocked away from him. Thorson will slide it across the rink. Ingram gets it back. He'll bank it high off the glass. Down the rink on the clear. A minute 15 to go here on the power play for Andover. Over 60 points on the season so far for these three forwards, Conway, Thorson, and Casey, as they're off the ice right now for Andover. But in their 4 losses this season, those 3 players had combined for a goal and 2 assists total. So Andover needs a little bit more secondary scoring. Their second power play unit out right now. Yell out through center down the right wing into the offensive zone. Drops it back to the point. Wrist shot there. Knocked down in front. That hit a player up high. That was Law. He goes down to the ice trying to gingerly skate back into the play. Kernan with a shot. Shoulder save there by Altman. Rings high off the glass. Back out to center. Play will continue. Good shorthanded chance there for Kernan. Barreling down the right side. Back behind the net. Andover having trouble getting going here. Their power play about to expire. 11 minutes remaining in the second period. Still no score. Belisle gaining the line. And Andover called for offside just as the penalty ends. So Maple Grove is back to full strength. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by Red Black League. Red Black Hockey. Spring and fall leagues for high school boys and girls. Fall leagues for Bantam and Pee Wee. Since 2014, Red Black has provided serious hockey players an opportunity to improve their game. Red Black Hockey. Check them out at redblackhockey.com. Nudged back out to center. May Robinson will shovel it back into the offensive end for the Huskies. Back to track down his own Smith for Maple Grove. He'll work it around the boards. Up to Ingram. Joey Ingram saucers across. Pass connects through traffic to Giuliani. He'll dump it into the offensive end here for the Crimson. Now it slips off the stick of Giuliani behind the net. He'll throw a hard check in the corner. Deep in the Maple Grove offensive zone. May Robinson leaves it behind the net. A couple of forwards down deep here for Maple Grove, but Andover will bank it off the glass. Back out to center. And this will be an icing call here against the Huskies. Top line coming out again here for Andover. This line will play heavy minutes as it's knocked in on goal off the faceoff. Altman will cover it up in net for the Huskies, and we'll do it all over again. One thing that kind of dawned on me recently is, you know, for a top line, obviously you need skill. You need to be able to score. You need to be able to put the puck in the net and set up your teammates. But at the same time, not only do you need that skill, you need stamina too. You need to be able to physically handle being out there for, you know, potentially 20 minutes a night, if not or longer, and still be able to make a difference offensively. Here's Conway, backhands it to the middle of the ice, stolen away here by Maple Grove. Kernan gets it over to Brink. Brink into the offensive zone down the right wing on the backhander. And squeezing it that time is Altman, and he'll make a nice save on a sharp angle shot from the goal line by one of the top players for the Crimson in Finn Brink. Brink named to the Star Tribune Dream Team before the season started. Had 60 points last year, and if you want to talk about clutch for Finn Brink, he had 12 points, 6 goals, 6 assists in 6 postseason games. Shot off the face-off there by Bush, and a stick save by Altman. And another penalty here with 9:30 to go in the second period. Hooking the call. May Robinson going to the box for Andover, and another Maple Grove power play. But Finn Brink with 12 points in 6 postseason games last year, helping lead his team to the state 2A championship game where they lost 6-5 to Andover. 2 Northwest Suburban Conference teams playing in the state championship game last year. Both teams have been in the state tournament for 3 years running. As the Crimson win the draw in the offensive zone. Here is Bush up high at the top of the circle. He'll swing it down deep for Kernan. Back to Bush. Now Kernan back behind the nets. Work back over to Brink on the far side. Here's Margano. Out in front, knocked down here. Belial will fire it around the wall. Hits a player in front, knocked down in the corner. Thorson comes in to help, a hard hit there down low. Picked up here by Maple Grove to hold the zone. Here's Pardo for Andover. He took a hard hit in the corner. He's got it back here. He'll shovel it up the wall. Thorson waiting at his blue line. He'll pick it up one-on-one shorthanded. Thorson shoved off by Margano. Those do go hard in the corner. Out in front. Thorson trying to stuff it in out in front. Knocked down in front. Casey was standing right on top of the crease. Kind of surprised that Thorson didn't feed it to him. He's surprised that the goaltender Roach even really realized Casey was there. You know, it's not too often that you're going to have an opposing player shorthanded with the puck all by himself in the corner of your zone. So I would assume Roach is probably pretty hyper-focused on Thorson in the corner, and Caden Casey standing in between the circles all by himself. Would have had a great chance on a one-timer. But Thorson tried to walk it out in front and tried to stuff it in. And it's turned over. Turnout shot there by Conway, and a pad save by Roach. On this power play for Maple Grove, Andover's had the better chances. 55 seconds to go on the man advantage. Worked across. Gaining the line, here's Giuliani. Giuliani from a sharp angle on the forehand. Misses just wide. Kept in at the point. Another shot. Glove save there by Altman. Rebound bounces into the slot. Rolling around there. Knocked back out to center down the rink on the clear. Swung around by the goaltender Roach over to the near side corner. Maple Grove kind of struggling to get things going here on their power play. Out through center, gaining the line is Patefield. Patefield slows down in the corner. Now he'll carry behind the nets. Trying to center, goes off the back of the net. Rolls out in front. Bouncing around there. And finally pouncing on top of it is the goaltender. Nice job there by the referee not to blow the whistle quickly there. It looked like at first Altman had it, but he squirted out from underneath his glove pretty quickly. A lot of times referees are really quick to blow the whistle, but this officiating crew saw that the puck was loose and let the play fully develop until finally Altman was able to cover it up. Loose puck off the faceoff, picked up in between the circles. Here's Steenerson at the faceoff with a shot. Save there by Altman. He'll hold on again. 8 seconds to go on the power play for the Crimson with a shot total advantage of 20-10 so far in the game. With 7:37 to go in the second period, still no score. Puck knocked back out to center off the draw, all the way back into the Maple Grove end. Power play about to expire. As Tristan May Robinson out of the box. And the senior defenseman and co-captain will go right into the lineup, right into the play. Face-off coming deep in the Crimson end. Hockey Night Minnesota presented by Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Great products, people, and competitive rates. Now that's a banking hat trick. Learn more at affinityplus.org. Steenerson down the right side, steals away with a shot. Rebound up the middle. And Brink tied up, couldn't get a shot off. And there's a shot from the side of the circle by Leno. Kind of pinballs around in front. Ends up behind the goal. Stolen away by Kernan. He's bumped off though at the top of the circle. In to help out is Casey. He'll knock it out to center, and his stick ends up breaking in half. Thorson coming into the offensive zone. Thorson chased into the corner. Back out to the point, hops over the stick of May Robinson, and back into the Andover end. Back down deep here. Andover will dig it free. Cogswell trying to break out pass to Conway off the mark, and an icing call here against Andover with 6:45 to go in the second period. Face-off control again by the Crimson. Shot there by Ellenson is deflected and rolls wide of the nets into the far corner. Back down deep, Ellenson trying to dig it free. Knocked away from him by Cogswell for Andover. Huskies back behind their own net, nudging it up the wall. Stick goes flying in the air. Ends up at the Andover blue line. Back out to center. Crosby Perry will pick it up. And another icing call here against the Huskies. 6:22 to go. Andover has a much larger stated. Here's Ellenson off the faceoff, centering it out in front, bouncing around in the slot. Tied up in front on the back door was Sinclair for the Crimson, unable to get a handle on that loose puck in front of the Andover net. Sinclair in front of his own bench, double team spun off as Sauer will collect here for the Huskies. Up the left side, Perry kicks it forward into the offensive zone here. Sauer stolen away at the Crimson blue line. Maple Grove trying to move the puck quickly in their own end. Long stretch pass connects. Here's Sinclair down the left side. Sinclair with the shot. Pad save there in front by Altman. Rebound comes free. Crimson controlling the play, but they have not been able to beat Bo Altman. One of the biggest guys around, 5'10", $150, but he's been staying strong in net. He's had a good year so far also for the Huskies. Knocked back out to center. Andover. Owen Smith kind of tackles Macklin Yell, but play will continue. Here's Rocco Gorowski. His rink-wide headman pass broken up. This puck trickles into the offensive zone. Here's Sullivan. Can't get the handle on it. He'll pick up back behind the Maple Grove net. Knocks it out in front. Back out for Belisle with a slap shot. Knocked down in the slot. Huskies couldn't get to it. Might have been an interference call there, but play will continue. Coming down the right wing into the offensive zone, floating it towards the goal there is Giuliani. Trying to kind of a little bit of misdirection, making it look like he was going to make a pass across the rink. Instead, he floats a wrist shot towards the net, but he missed high and wide. Sullivan gains the red line. He'll dump it in for Andover and go for a line change. Back down deep here in the Maple Grove end. 4.5 minutes to go in a scoreless second period. Here is Belisle. Keeps the puck in control. He'll dump it back down deep. Here is Marganeau. Back out to center to Giuliani. Fed to the middle of the ice here. Into the offensive zone is Ingram for Maple Grove. Swings and misses on the wrist shot from up high. Turned over. Thorson down the right side. Drop pass to Conway. Conway with a shot blocked down in front. Off the bench coming into the play is Steenerson. Steenerson stick handling into the slot. Trying to get through. Throws it towards the goal. Pad save by Holman. Rebound in front. Marganeau trying to pinch towards the net. He can't jam it in. Back down into the corner. Trying to swing it out in front is Kernan for the Crimson. Now Steenerson back into the offensive zone. Steenerson pressured by Cogswell back behind the net. Steenerson using all of his 6'4", 200-pound frame. Shot from the point. That one changed direction. Pinballs underneath the glove of Albin. Goes wide and into the corner. Back out to center. Steenerson will nudge it across. Leno can't get it up. Casey back the other way. Andover feeds it out front. Rebound in front. Hand save. They score! Casey came down the right wing. It changed direction. Roach was kind of moving to the middle of the ice. Had to try to come back. Unable to do so. And just the 11th shot of the game for Andover. They'll take a 1-0 lead. That's how that type of thing happens. Here's Leno floating towards the goal. Saved there by Ullman. Rebound in front. Bouncing around back here. Score! Ellingson at the side of the net. And that lead for Andover is short-lived. It's tied at 1-1. Leno with a shot from the point. Knocked down by the goaltender Ullman, but just kind of sat in the slot for a moment. Knocked back to the side of the net. Ellingson was curling around. had a wide open net and just had to tap it in, and we've got a 1-1 game. Great response there by Maple Grove. What's going to be the play of the game? Be sure to watch for the True Hockey play of the game at the conclusion of the matchup. That'll be posted on the MNHockeyTV social media platforms. Fired around the boards here. We're back to a tie game. Knocked back out to center. Patefield will fire it into the offensive end. Assist going to Lucas Bush and Grant Leno on the goal by Jay Ellingson for Maple Grove. 2:38 to go here in the second period. We're tied 1-1. Maple Grove looking for a little bit of revenge on Andover after the Huskies won 6-5 in the state championship game last year. Huskies with it behind the net, trying to work it out in front. May Robinson throws it towards the goal. Blocker save there by Roach. Fired across the slot. Picked up here off the side wall by Patefield. He'll gain the red line. Fired in. Skips in on goal. Pad save by Altman. Kept in at the point by Margano. He'll dump it back behind the net. Altman will stop it behind the goal. May Robinson getting pressured by Brink. And the puck ends up going out of play, and we'll have a stoppage with 1:57 to go here in the second period in a 1-1 game. The official roster for Andover has 38 players on it, I believe. Mark Manny likes to get a lot of guys a little bit of playing experience. Over 30 skaters, non-goalies, have suited up for a game so far this season. By comparison, Maple Grove has only had 22 non-goalies in the lineup at any point during the year. Floated back out to center, bouncing around in the neutral zone, swatted in by Belial with 90 seconds to go in the second period. Back to play it along the end wall is Stelgis at the side of the goal. Worked across. Here's Cogswell. He'll slide it back down deep here for the Huskies. Now Maple Grove trying to headman pass. Ricochets knocked out of midair by Brink, and I think it was going to be played with a high stick. And Maple Grove not too happy, saying that puck was touched. And the linesman touching his chest, making it look like, at least from a body language perspective, from what I can see, looks like he's saying, yeah, that was my fault. And, if you're a coach, as long as the referee is saying, hey, I couldn't see the play proper, I didn't have the right angle, or that was my mistake, you're going to be a little bit more willing to accept it. Face-off out at center. Controlled here by the Crimson. They'll dump it into the offensive zone. Pardo will play it down deep for Andover from behind his own goal. Captain at the point by Kernan. He'll shovel it down deep. Brink will throw it in on net. Pad save in front. Rebound. Something to score! Brink stuffs it in. And the Crimson take a 2-1 lead with 55.8 seconds to go in the second period. Andover just hasn't been tough enough, tight enough in front of their own nets, clearing away those rebounds. Loose puck in front, just kind of sat there for a moment. Brink able to come in, clean up the garbage, stuff it home. And the senior captain, co-captain for Maple Grove, scores his 12th goal of the season to give the Crimson a lead. Back out to center. Here is Pardo. He'll fire it in. Brink on the year, 6th in Class 2A in scoring, coming into tonight with 26 points. He'll poke check it into the offensive zone. Has his 12th goal of the season. Here is Thorson. Up to Conway. Conway in a one-on-one battle. He'll go down to the ice with, I believe, Stelgis. Play will continue. 10 seconds to go in the period. Dump back out to center. May Robinson will nudge it forward. It looks like there was away from the plate. Thorson, and I can't make out the number for Maple Grove. With 4.2 seconds to go, it's Kernan. I think they're going to send both players to the box, it looked like, and they will. And both players will go to the box. Tied up away from the play. They both went down to the ice along the boards on the near side. .2 seconds to go here in the second period. Maple Grove with a 2-1 lead. Puck tied up in the neutral zone. Fired into the offensive end here by Andover. Ends up in the corner as the horn sounds. And that'll signal the end of period number 2. Teams will head to the locker room. Number 3, Maple Grove with a 2-1 lead over number 10, Andover here after 2 periods of play. We'll be back in a moment. You're watching MN Hockey TV's Kare 11 Game of the Week. It's Hockey Night in Minnesota here.
Your college experience begins with your dream. Your time at St. Cloud State will uniquely be your own, but your journey will be guided by our community. Be you. Be bold. Be a Husky.
They say good things come to those who wait. But greatness, that's a different beast. It doesn't come when it's called. It won't wander up to those who do nothing. You have to bait it with the sweat you leave on the ice. You gotta push through the pain, smile through every ache, and suffer every shift. You gotta chase it, all in the name of the game you love. Because greatness comes to those who take it.
Sniper's Edge Hockey is your one-stop shop for your at-home hockey training needs on and off the ice. Find the perfect start to your at-home training area with slick tiles, synthetic ice, or a rink liner. Or upgrade your home setup with one of our top-quality training tools to help you work on soft hands, all of your deeks and dangles, perfect your one-timer, and improve the power and accuracy of your shot. Find it all online and in stock for immediate shipping at snipersedgehockey.com.
What if there was a place where everything was hockey?
Finding escape. Here comes Steves in on goal, all alone.
In Minnesota, there is.
Scores!
And welcome back to the Andover Community Center. Jeff Brown here on MNHockeyTV. Kare 11 Hockey Night in Minnesota Game of the Week. And it's been that so far. 2-1 Maple Grove. Number 3 ranked Maple Grove leading homestanding number 10 Andover after 2 periods of play. We've got a packed house here tonight at the Andover Community Center. But statistically, Maple Grove has had the edge in this game. They have a 26-12 edge in shots on goal through 2 periods of play. 10-6 edge after the first, and a 16-6 edge in the second period of play for the Crimson. Second period, for the most part, Maple Grove controlled pace of play. They've done a nice job in terms of puck control, spending time in the offensive zone, and limiting the opportunities for Andover. Andover got the first goal of the game. Got a little bit of an odd man rush. Caden Casey got some good speed coming down the back door. Found some separation from the Maple Grove defense. Able to stuff the puck back behind the goaltender Roach, coming down the right wing to give Andover a 1-0 lead. But basically like 20 seconds later, Jay Ellington stuffed home a rebound at the side of the net to tie the game for Maple Grove. And then in the final minute of play, Finn Brink scored his Maple Grove leading 12th goal this season on a similar play. A loose puck at the side of the goal, and Brink able to come in and stuff it home. And that's where we stand after 2 periods. Keys for the third for Maple Grove, they got to keep it up. They've got to be disciplined and focused. And, they've got to avoid some of those odd man rush chances. Andover does kind of like to stretch the ice, particularly with their top line. So the Crimson have got to find a way to make sure that no headman passes get through to some of those top forwards for the Huskies. For Andover, their top line needs to produce. They've got the only goal of the game so far for the Huskies, but they've got to, they really rely, Andover does, on that top line being very effective throughout the course of a game. They need to make more face-off wins as well. I think the face-off totals are something like 29-13 in favor of Maple Grove. That leads to a lot of puck possession for the Crimson instead of the Huskies. And finally, for Andover, they've got to protect the front of the net. They've got to clear rebounds away from the front of the goal. Maple Grove scored both of its goals on loose puck rebounds near the net that they got to first, rather than Andover. Off the face-off to start the third period, a wrist shot from the red line in on goal, gloved there by Roach for Maple Grove, and a face-off coming in the Crimson end. Here's Margano. He'll work it up the boards. Comes free to the middle of the ice. Fired back down deep here by the Huskies. Back on the goal. Swept up the boards. Picked up here by Ellingson. He's got Brink with him. Brink down the left side. Brink into the offensive zone with a shot. Toe save in front. Rebound comes right up the middle. Nice job in the back check there by Andover to clear it away, as Maple Grove missed a couple of chances there to add an insurance marker. Worked up the right side here by Stelgis. Back out to center. Hacked right back into the Maple Grove end. Back to play it is Ellington. He'll leave it in the corner for Stelgis. Stelgis. He'll get it in. Sinclair in the corner here for the Crimson, trying to dig it free. Instead, he'll just have to dump it down deep. Back behind the net is Lucas Bush. Bush, he can't hold on it behind the goal as Andover will collect. Rink wide had man pass, connects to Cooper Conway. Tries to dump it in, goes right into the equipment of Grant Leno, and Leno slides it back out to center. Crosby Perry will fire it in for the Huskies, but they have to clear the zone. Picked up here by Dahl. Dahl moving down, backhands it down low. That's behind Perry. Can't handle it cleanly. And it's now in the corner of the Maple Grove end. Played up the near side wall. Sinclair will fire it across the rink for the Crimson. Picked up here by May Robinson, his own blue line for the Huskies. Too many rink-wide pass attempts there by Andover. They turn it over and near side, and it's picked up by Bush. He'll stick handle past one man, coming down the right wing into the offensive zone, 1-on-4. Still has the puck, though. Nice little toe drag move to carry it back behind the net. And there's a shot from the left side by Picanato goes well wide. Rings around the board, stays in play. As we pass the 2-minute mark here of period number 3, still 2-1 Maple Grove. Perry will sweep it in. Stop on net here by the goaltender Roach. And an offside call against Andover. Both players out of the penalty box from a penalty late in the second period. Fired in by the Crimson. Stop on the net by the goaltender Altman. Cogswell trying to clear it out. Knocked down by Maple Grove. Centering feed deflected. Pops high off the glass on the near side. Going D-to-D here are the Crimson. Here's Owen Smith. He'll take a wrist shot blocked in front. Picked up in the near corner. Knocked back out to center. Smith basically getting sat on by Yahoo of Andover. Crimson able to hold on to the puck for a moment. Now it's jumped free for Ingram. Joey Ingram down the left side's got a step. Ingram down for sharp angle. Pad save there by Altman. He doesn't know where it is. But Andover able to clear it out. And the penalty behind the play. It looks like they're going to send 2 players again. Ingram for Maple Grove, and I believe that was Gorowski for Andover. Hockey Night Minnesota presented by St. Cloud State University. Explore ideas, seek out unique perspectives, and embrace new challenges. Unleash possibilities. Learn more at www.stcloudstate.edu. Played down deep in the Maple Grove end. Still 5-on-5 skating, just matching penalties. Back out to center. Picked up here, moving right up the middle is Conway. Conway sticking his pass, one man, throws it towards the goal. Pad save there by Roach. Conway didn't get much on that shot from his knees. And Steenerson will dig it free 2-on-2. He's got Brink with him. Brink drop pass to Steenerson. Steenerson with a shot. Pad save there by Altman right up the middle. Conway will clear it back out. Caden Casey moves across for Thorson. Thorson with a shot. Pad save there by Roach. And he'll dive on top of it. For a moment, Margano was going to try to carry it out, but Roach will pull it towards him with the goal stick and dove on top of it to get the whistle. 13:03 to go here in the third. 2-1. Maple Grove with the lead. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Great products, people, and competitive rates. Now that's a banking hat trick. Learn more at affinityplus.org. Obviously, the end of this season still has to be written. You won both or neither of these teams get back to state. They've both been in state tournament 3 years running. Was last year's state tournament championship. There's a shot here by Picanato and a pad save by Altman. Was last year's state championship for Andover kind of the end of their run. They had 11 seniors graduate from that year's team, just 6 seniors on this year's team. Likewise is this year potentially the final run for Maple Grove. 13 seniors on this year's roster for the Crimson. Here's Ellenson with a shot. He scores! Loose puck coming up the middle. Ellington picks it up. No one there to stop him. And a nasty wrist shot short side top shelf. And that's an insurance marker for Maple Grove. Ellington's second goal of the game. And it's 3-1 Crimson. Unassisted for Ellingson. And Yell will float it towards the goal. That one goes wide. Knocked back around over the near side. Owen Smith will chase down a loose puck for Maple Grove. Now has a 2-goal lead. Shot totals are nearly double in favor of the Crimson right now. 29-15, 11:45 to go in the third. Maple Grove looking to win their 8th straight game. Andover, they'll slide it into the offensive zone. Linesman decides that Maple Grove had a chance to touch it. Here's Smith. Up to Leafblad. Knocked away from him, and he'll head off for a line change. Here's Casey trying to move to the middle ice for Conway. Conway gets tied up there by Kernan. And Steenerson comes in to clean up the puck and get it back out to center. Top line out here for Andover, looking to make something happen. Casey moving to the middle ice with a nasty wrist shot. Goes hard off the back of the net. And Maple Grove will clear it back out to center. Bouncing around out at center. Knocked back to the red line. Picked up here by Cogswell. Slips off his stick. Thorson in to help out. Thorson getting double-teamed along the near side wall. Still comes away with the puck. Thorson into the offense. No toe drag down the right side. Backhand towards the goal. Pad save there by the goaltender. It's plowed into the net. Net knocked off its moorings and a hard hit out in front of the Maple Grove bench. Caden Belisle ends up on his rear end for Andover. 10:41 to go here in the third. 3-1. Maple Grove with the lead. Hockey night in Minnesota presented by Red Black League. Red Black Hockey. Spring and fall leagues for high school boys and girls. Fall leagues for Bantam and Pee Wee. Since 2014, Red Black has provided serious hockey players an opportunity to improve their game. Red Black Hockey. Check them out at redblackhockey.com. Face-off control by Maple Grove. They'll bank it off the glass back out to center. Here is Dahl out at center, moving to the middle of the ice, gets over to Sauer. Sauer floats it down low. That gets off the skate boot of Leno, ends up in the corner. Leno battling with Dahl, kicked around the wall, back over the far side. A little bit more urgency for Andover here late in the halfway through the third period. Moving to middle ice and gaining the line there is Bush with a wrist shot that goes high and wide of the Andover net. As the Huskies have spent a little bit more time in the offensive zone since Maple Grove took that 3-1 lead. As the puck sails out of play, and we'll have a stoppage with 9:57 to go here in the third period. Fans, be sure to check out our weekly highlight program, Inside the Bubble, high school hockey highlight show that is packed with highlights from around the state, coach interviews, player spotlight features, and more. The show airs at 10 p.m. Can be seen on Kare 11 Plus, the Kare 11 streaming app, and YouTube channel. Face off in the offensive end here for the Crimson. They'll back in it down deep behind the Andover goal. Nudged around the boards by May Robinson. Can't get it out though. Right in front of the Andover student section. Knocked back out to center. Here is Gorowski, caught from behind nicely on the back check by Maple Grove. Here's Ingram. Getting chased in the corner. Penalty coming. And with 9:30 to go, it's going to go against Maple Grove. Ingram heads to the box for high sticking. Key spot here. Maple Grove's penalty kill coming into the night. 90% on the PK this year. Now the power play this season for Andover has struggled, but their top line of Conway, Casey, and Thorson has scored 6 of the team's 9 power play goals. And they're out there now. But Brink able to fire it back out to center. Brink with the current go-ahead goal, sandwiched between a pair of Ellingson tallies for Maple Grove. Here's Dahl into the offensive zone. He'll nudge it around the wall. Thorson has it knocked away, and Maple Grove will swat it back out to center on the clear. Andover runs a 4-forward set here on the power play. Casey quarterbacking things from the point. Pass up the left to May Robinson. He'll gain the line. Robinson down into the corner. He'll swing it back to Casey. Casey will take a shot, and a pad save by Roach, kicked into the corner. It's been one of the big differences in the game so far here. Roach making the save, and he redirected it into the corner. A lot of the rebounds at the other end for Andover have ended up in front of the net in good spots for Maple Grove to score. Shot there, saved there by Roach. He leaves no rebound that time. Off the stick of Caden Belisle with 54 seconds to go on the power play. 8:23 to go here in the third period. 3-1 Maple Grove with the lead. Steenerson taking the draw against Sauer for the Huskies. And Maple Grove comes away with it again. They'll just slide it right up the middle, go all the way down the rink. Worked across the rink. Andover with Yell out at center. He'll fire it into the corner. Waiting for it behind his own net is Stelgis. He'll fire it around the boards, but can't get it out. Kept in nicely at the left point there by Belisle. Played out at center. Cogswell over back to Belisle. He'll gain the line. Takes a hard hip check there. Loses the puck. And Maple Grove will fire it around the boards and clear it out again. And that'll just about do it on the power play for Andover. 7:32 to go here in the third period. Still 3-1 Crimson. Ellingson looking for the hat trick. Good speed coming up the middle. He's bumped off just as he enters the zone. Puck knocked back out to center. Owen Smith back to retrieve. He'll gain the line. Stick handles with a shot. Saved there by Altman. And he'll cover up the rebound and get the whistle. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by St. Cloud State University. Explore ideas, seek out unique perspectives, embrace new challenges, unleash possibilities. Learn more at www.stcloudstate.edu. Puck controlled here by Andover, working out through center. They'll fire it in wide of the net. Back to play here is Smith. A couple of forwards down deep here for Andover, unable to get the puck knocked back out to center by Karkos for the Crimson. And then Andover ends up dumping it back into the Maple Grove zone with 6:52 to go. Andover has become a Class AA powerhouse. 3 straight state tournament appearances. They've never been to the state tournament before this stretch. Won their first state championship last year over Maple Grove. Face off in the Crimson offensive end, controlled here by Andover. Here's Pardo trying to backhand it up near side, knocked down, stolen by Steenerson. Sharp angle shot, missed the net, rings around the wall. Kept in at the point by Picconato for a moment. And actually they will keep it in. Here's Steenerson again, shielding the puck back by the net. On the backhand, he gets shoved off in the corner, but in to help out there is Margano. Margano over for Brink, knocked back out to center. Brink will tip it in. 6:15 to go here in the third. Here's Cogswell. Leaves it in the corner. Andover having trouble getting out of their own end again here. Gotta like this, and coming down the right side, Thorson into the offensive zone. A little bit too much stick handling there, and Picconato able to shove Thorson off the puck. Andover, though, gets it back. Down deep in the offensive zone, Casey back out to one. Cogswell with a wrist shot, knocked down in front. Rebound bouncing around in the slot. Maple Grove will clear it out. And they'll fire it in. Stick save there by Altman. Off the stick from Kernan from the red line. Brought back out to center. Cogswell kicks it up to the Maple Grove blue line. Thorson will bring it in. Knocked off his stick, stolen away here by Maple Grove. Coming down 2-on-2 into the offensive zone. Here are the Crimson on the backhand. Backhand towards the goal. Goes back by the net. Backhand right up the middle. Cleared away in the back check nicely here by Andover. Taking it away with Dahl. They tried to spring Babineau on a breakaway. Pass off the mark. Here's Dahl. Gets tied up. Goes down to the ice in the corner. Passing the 12-minute mark here of the third period. 5 minutes to go. Here's Ingram. Spins away from pressure. Dumped in here by the Crimson on goal, and it's whistled and stopped with 4:57 to go in the period. Both teams with impressive long-term coaching resumes. Todd Berglund was named the Class 2A Coach of the Year last year. I believe this is his 8th season as the head boss for Maple Grove. Meanwhile, Andover, Mark Manny, head coach, been on the staff since 2008. And one of his assistant coaches, Brett Bartle, was named the Class 2A Assistant Coach of the Year last season for the second time. Bringing it in here is Dahl, gets double teamed by the Crimson, loses the puck just inside the zone. Ends up back on the Maple Grove net. Now here's Sinclair. He'll work it up the left side. Here's Ellingson trying to cut to the middle of the ice. He's shoved off nicely by Cogswell. Andover trying to get out of their own end. Down deep, Lucas Bush jars it free, back out to the point. Gavin Anderson can't handle it. Turned over here to the Huskies, but they can't do anything with the puck after forcing the turnover. Here's Thorson. Runs into a couple of Maple Grove players. Thorson off the bench into the play. Still has the puck. Stick handling down low. Gets it to Casey. Trying to get it back over to Thorson. Bit too many passes there, and Maple Grove will clear it back out to center. Here's May Robinson into the zone, and that's offside. At what point does Andover consider pulling the goaltender? You're down 2, and time is becoming a factor. But continuing my thought, Mark Manny, Lieutenant Colonel in the Air Force, retired after a 23-year career. Notably spent, I think, the last 5 or 6 years of his career as one of the pilots for Air Force One. Was a pilot for Air Force One during both the Clinton and W. Bush presidential administrations. Face off just outside the Maple Grove end with 3:36 to go. Controlled here by Maple Grove. They'll bank it off the glass back out to center. Finn Brink down the left wing. And knocked away from him into the netting, and we'll have a stoppage with 3:27 to go here in the third. Hockey Night in Minnesota presented by Meta Sports League. Check out their MetaButtes NFT hockey project that features a collection of 9,997 MetaButtes. Learn more at metabuttes.com. Also, be sure to watch for the True Hockey Play the Game at the conclusion tonight. That'll be posted on the MNHockeyTV social media platform. Shot from the points. And a glove save there by Altman off the stick of Grant Leno from the right side. Maple Grove's done a nice job shutting down this top line for Andover. Conway, Thorson, and Casey have accounted for 28 goals now. Nearly 60% of the team's total on the season. Here is Brink, can't handle it. Fired back out to center, picked up at the red line by Leno. He'll swing it into the far side wall. Casey back to play it. Here's Picanato, he'll flip it back in. As Maple Grove happy to just make Andover go the full length of the rink. Here is Conway, he's got some space to carry. He'll gain the line. Trying to feather it down low to Casey. Puck ends up back when that comes right back up the middle. Thorson able to pick it up and keep it in the zone. Still able to hold it in the zone after taking a couple of checks up high. Back into the corner. Here's Casey. Throws it back out to point for Cogswell. He'll fire it across. Here's a shot by Belisle. Saved there by Roach. He'll hold on. Good save through traffic by the senior goaltender for Maple Grove. 2:23 to go. But Caden Casey, one of the Star Tribune's preseason players to watch. He's had a bit of a sluggish start to the season. 17 points, 5 goals, 12 assists, but he has had some nagging injury issues throughout the first half of the year. Tipped out in front, just wide there by Caden Martin. Off a shot from the point to kind of a shot pass by Cogswell on the right side. A good opportunity there for Andover. Goaltender still in for the Huskies at the other end. Back out to the point. Here's Belisle over to Cogswell. He'll take a wrist shot. Glove save there by Roach. That one might have been going wide. Andover has its timeout. Are they going to use it here? They're going to pull the goaltender with 1:58 to go. And they're going to bring the top line out again. Extra skater here for the Huskies. Dahl take the draw. Controlled here by Maple Grove. They'll fire it around the boards, back out to center. They're going to wave off the icing. Back to track it down is May Robinson. He'll backhand it into the corner. Casey will feed it right back to May Robinson. He's got some space to work. May Robinson slides it across. Pass off the mark, turned over. Brink will hack it back out to center. Conway will flip it across. Huskies will fire it in. 90 seconds to go in the third period. Andover trailing at home to number 3 Maple Grove by 2 goals. May Robinson floats it in, snared out of midair here by the Huskies. That was Picconato. He'll dump it into the offensive zone for an icing call with 1:19 to go. Does Andover consider using their timeout now to give that top line a little bit of breathing time? It doesn't look like they're going to use it. They're going to let things play out here. Actually, now a timeout will be called, and it will be by Andover. Give this top unit a chance to catch their breath. Gavin Thorson, part of the Star Tribune's Dream Team in the preseason articles and previews of the year. He scored 29 goals last year. Is committed to St. Cloud State University. Came into the night 11th in two-way scoring with 23 points. 6th in goals with 13. Then Cooper Conway, who's a Colorado College commit, 10th in two-way scoring with 24 points so far in the year entering tonight. But Maple Grove has done a nice job shutting down this top unit. They have about 60 points on the season combined. But in their 4 losses entering tonight, those 3 forwards have combined for a goal and 2 assists. Casey has the lone goal on the evening for the Huskies. Minute 19 to go. Extra skaters still with the goaltender pulled for Andover. As the Huskies are looking for a dramatic finish, as they need 2 goals just to force overtime. Face off to the right of Jack Roach. Control again by Maple Grove. Crimson have done a spectacular job on the face-offs here tonight. Back out to the point. Here's Thorson with a shot. That one pinballs around. Rebound in front, and that one pops over the top of the goal. Good chance at the side of the net there, but it pops over the top of the goal. Brink will flip it back out to center. Casey shields the puck from Steenerson. Under a minute to go. Worked across. Tipped in here by Cogswell. He'll fire it around the wall. Rides the dasher for a moment. Stripped away by Steenerson. He'll fire it down the rink. Just wide. And it'll be an icing call with 45.4 seconds to go. There's the danger if you don't get to the red line, shooting at that empty net. As you end up with having to take a face-off in your own zone. Face-off again controlled by Maple Grove, and Marginal will roll this one down, and that one will go wide, and another icing call against Maple Grove with 39 seconds remaining. Fans starting to trickle towards the exits here. Another face-off in the Crimson end. But Maple Grove seems to be content as they win another face-off. Content to just ice the puck constantly because they can just seemingly win face-offs at will. Puck ends up back in the Andover end. Icing, no icing this time. Back in between the circles, he'll fire down the rink, and they'll score into the empty nets. Co-captain Luke Margano with the goal. And it's 4-1, and Maple Grove is going to extend its winning streak to 8 games. 22.6 seconds to go here in the third, and that will start a large exodus of folks heading for the exits here at the Andover Community Center. As Maple Grove is going to get a little bit of revenge here on Andover. Andover is at Osseo on Saturday. Meanwhile, Maple Grove will host Blaine on Saturday in the next games for these two teams. Puck played along the near side wall, deep in the Andover zone. Tied up along the boards as the horn is going to sound. And that will do it here tonight. An impressive win on the road for number 3, Maple Grove. They move to 10-2 on the season. Extend their winning streak to 8 games. Andover falls to 7-5-1. Jack Roach now 8-2, 19 saves on 20 shots. And Bo Altman 5-3-1 as he makes 27 saves on 30 shots faced here this evening. No scoring in the game until late in the second period. Andover scored first on the 5th goal of the season by Caden Casey, but then 4 straight goals for Maple Grove to pick up the win on the road. Perhaps the biggest one of the night was scored moments after Andover took the lead. Jay Ellingson stuffed home a rebound for the Crimson to tie the game 15 to 20 seconds after Andover had taken the lead, and Maple Grove didn't look back after that. They scored with less than a minute remaining in the second with Finn Brink. He gets the game winner. And then they added 2 goals in the third period. Another goal by Ellingson 4 or 5 minutes into the third. And then the empty netter by Luke Margano with under 30 seconds remaining to seal the deal for the Maple Grove Crimson. That's it for me here from the Andover Community Center. Thank you for watching the Kare 11 Game of the Week, Hockey Night in Minnesota. Special thanks to Matt Harrington for producing the game on site here this evening. Hope you can tune in to lots of other coverage of high school hockey here in Minnesota on MNHockeyTV throughout the rest of the season. For everyone here at MNHockeyTV, thanks for watching. Have a good night. Stay safe on the roads. Final score, number 3, Maple Grove with a 4-1 win over number 10, Andover here tonight. Have a good night, everybody.